Hey, this is Rachel Friedman, and you are listening to The Wellness Boss. To really compete in the wellness industry, you have to have a fully integrated business. That's why each week I will be answering your questions, sharing my stories, giving you tips and advice on how to create a business you love and that makes money. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. It's Rachel, and welcome back to The Wellness Boss. I am so excited. Today, I have an incredible guest with me, Staci Hannah. I said it right, Staci. Staci recently had a name change, and so I almost said her old last name. But as she's stepping into this new identity, I want to make sure I'm supporting her with that. So Staci was a client of mine. We worked together, and she's really an incredible woman doing incredible things, I believe, on this planet. And I want everybody to know about her. So that's why I wanted to bring her on this episode today. So I'm going to let Staci introduce herself, because I've come to learn that people generally introduce themselves better than I can. So Staci, tell everyone who you are, where you are on this planet, and what you do.
Hi, Rachel. Thank you so much. So, Rachel already told you my name is Staci Hannah. I made a career change about probably 7-8 years ago to the field of geriatrics. And I have become a dementia care specialist and an end-of-life coach. I help families navigate the aging process with a loved one who has been diagnosed with a terminal brain disease or chronic illness. And I help create a plan for them so they can enjoy their time in the forest and not get bogged down by the little minutia details. It's important to me that as someone ages, especially with the disease, that they have a quality of life. And that is what I like to think that I help families instill, is a quality of life, because that's what we all want. And we all want to be treated with dignity and respect. And when it comes to the end of life, I am a coach and a leader for the families that have someone near hospice or going on hospice, meaning I empower them about their rights with hospice, that they're still in the driver's seat, letting them know what they can expect, what is not in the parameters, that even if you're on hospice, you still need care in the house. That's a big thing. I talk about making memories that are right there and in front of them, and recognizing the gifts of time. And I also am a huge advocate for the person that's transitioning. I believe everyone needs a voice, and I'm that voice for individuals that need it towards the end of the life, meaning if they're in pain, I want to make sure their needs are taken care of. If they want chocolate, I want to make sure their needs are taken care of. Or alcohol, those are things that are not going to kill them, but it's going to add to whatever time of life they have. So we work on that, and I help support the family as these hard decisions are being made.
Oh, it's so needed. I mean, unfortunately, right? It's just a part of life, and it's the circle of life. And I love that you're standing for the people and helping them still have a voice. And I too believe that we all have a voice, as you know, Staci. And that's part of my mission too, is helping everyone find their voice and whatever it is, and being able to express it and share it. And I think it's just beautiful the way what you're doing for people. So Staci, tell us a little bit about what got you into this, because it's not something that's, I would say, crazy common. Like, yes, coaching world, I was writing an email this morning about how it's Some people believe it's becoming oversaturated. I don't really believe that's a thing. Like, look at Starbucks. There's one on every freaking corner. We don't say there's too many Starbucks out there. We say, oh my God, thank goodness it's convenient. Um, but what got you into not just coaching, but like this specific population?
As I was making a career change, I had narrowed it down between geriatrics and adult with disabilities. And another coach that I was working with at the time said to me, well, which one is not like work? And I immediately said geriatrics. It's not like work for me. I was fortunate when I was born that I had all my grandparents with me, and I lost my last grandparent when I was in my 40s. I was very blessed. One of my grandmothers had dementia, and when I would go visit her, the only thing I would want is just a response, just some type of response. And I always got that. And then my dad passed away within 10 days of a diagnosis. And respecting his wishes, what he wanted, just seemed very clear to me when the outside world was like, no, how come you're not making him try this or try that? The man was able to make his own decisions, and it was really important to my sisters and I that we respected that. And so when I chose geriatrics, I had to narrow down the field because, it's like, what kind of coffee do you like? And
That was such a good metaphor.
I immediately was drawn to dementia and end of life. And then I started to figure out how was I going to put them together without having a nursing or social work degree. And so I've made my way by becoming TIPA Snow Positive Approach to Care certified. I was a certified senior advisor, taking other classes, Rosalind Carter, learning different approaches in which to be able to support my families. I did a beautiful course, a 9-month course online about becoming an end-of-life doula and looking at it as a holistic approach, which is what I do anyway. And it was one of the best trainings that I've had. So that's how I got on my way.
Yeah, I find that most of us who get into this work, in the wellness world, it's because we've had a personal experience ourselves that in some way impacted us, either as a kid, a teenager, or as an adult. And because of that, we now want to go out into the world and help others. And I think it's interesting that yours actually happened. How old were you when your grandmother had dementia?
My last grandmother died in my early 40s, I think, and now I'm 55. So a while ago.
Yeah.
And she had it for a long time, but she lived in a nursing home in the Atlanta area. And I have no idea why. I just found it a challenge to get a response from her. And it just made me happy. And not until after I chose this field did I understand why I took the field. Like, I didn't go into it with that. And then it became clear.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's pretty common that we don't always 100% we're not always 100% like able to pinpoint it, like in the moment as we're choosing it or as we're feeling called to it. But then as we reflect back, we're like, oh yeah, of course. Right. Like there's a quote and it's like, you can't connect the dots moving forward. You can only connect them when you look back. And I think with everything in life, like things happen in our lives and we can't always make sense of them in the moment. But then when we have some time and space and perspective, we're like, oh yeah, that led to that, which led to that. And, it allows us to appreciate maybe more the hard times and the good times. So Staci, can you share with us like maybe a story or an experience you've had with a client that's just been so moving that, yeah, that really kind of maybe shook you or has just,
Yeah, recently in the past month, I had a client that was clearly transitioning, and she had been on a steady path of transition. Um, but one Thursday, she just started a big decline, and she was going downhill rapidly. And one Sunday, I was there with her. And I always feel like my clients give me signs. I had to be somewhere at 10 o'clock, and I was hesitant to go, but I knew this lady would tell me if I was supposed to go or not. And she did. And what the experience is, this lady was very still. Her hands had turned cold and blue. Her earlobes had turned. She just started reaching for the sky, as many people do. And you could see her just like lifting up. And yet she remained alive for another 4 days. It was the most
wow.
spiritual experience I had ever seen. It was almost like her soul was up, raised up, but her
Oh,
body was still there in the bed. It
whoa.
was so beautiful.
Oh my God. Wow. What an amazing thing that you got to be part of.
Yes, I feel like it's a gift. People always ask me, how do I do this work? It's an
Yeah.
honor to me that people allow me in their homes during the most difficult time of their life. So it's a gift to me.
Yeah. And that's why I think you are able to do this because of the mindset you have, because of the perspective you have, because you're not going into it with like, oh my God, this is so awful. This is so depressing. This is all the negative. You're going into it with, this is a gift. I mean, right. If we can all take that
Yes.
and apply it to everything in our life, whew, that'd be pretty freaking amazing, wouldn't it?
But Rachel, in working with you and in my life beforehand, most experiences are gifts. We just may not see them in the moment. That's what you were just saying before. All
Yeah.
the little dots that don't connect are really gifts.
Yeah.
And you just have to think of it that way.
Yeah. And it is such a great reminder for all of us, right? Like even myself, it's like taking a deep breath. And when you're in a challenging situation, whatever it is reminding yourself, okay, how is this for me? I do say that to myself a lot. I tell
Mhm.
my clients that, like, how is this for me? Even right now, when I'm feeling these intense, this intense frustration or these intense emotions in my body. And it's sometimes hard to be in that space. Like I'm human too, right? Like we all are, but take that deep breath, sigh, let yourself feel it, and then have a little space. We can usually get a little clarity.
Yes, it is always the space between the dots that
Yes.
wrap that connect the bow on the present,
Yeah.
even
So,
if you're not ready for it.
yeah, right. Even especially when you're not, I mean, I think that's when they come in the most inopportune times often.
Yes.
So, Staci, tell people like if they have someone out there right now who's gotten a diagnosis, if they're struggling, if they are a care partner, what would be like one piece of advice you could give them?
One piece of advice I would give you as a care partner is to take some time for yourself and to build a support team. Care partnering is not supposed to be a one person job. In order for that individual to have a quality of life, you need a team.
Mm,
You need a team, whether it's doctors or geriatric managers or family, who is on your team.
mhm.
You
It's
don't, when you go to heaven, there's no reward sitting up there waiting for you. I cared for my husband, my spouse, my brother, whoever for 24/7. You don't get that.
yeah.
So build a team.
Ooh, such good advice. And I'm going to piggyback on that because I think that's important in every aspect of life. So
Yes.
I have a team. I have the people that help support me. Yes, family. you know, friends, but also like people that help support me in my business, right? Like I'm a huge believer that nothing in life, we are tribal beings and we aren't meant to be doing things alone. And when you're thinking, oh, whether it's taking care of a partner who's sick or who is dying, or if you're growing a business, it blows my mind that people think I should be able to do it on my own. No, you shouldn't. You're not meant to. You're supposed to have a team. So I love that you brought that up, Staci. And I think, yeah, wherever you are, whatever you are dealing with, make sure you have a team.
A team.
So good. Okay, well, I'm going to end it on that because I think it's just so perfect. Staci, if someone out there is listening is like, oh my God, I need her help right now. I could use her support. My loved one could use her support, or my friend or my sister or my aunt or whomever. How do they find you?
Sure. They can go to my website and ask, for a meeting. And my website is gracefuljourneyatl.com, and go to where it says contact, and I'd be happy to talk to you.
Awesome. I'll make sure I put that in the show notes. So if you're listening and you didn't get all that, no worries. It'll be in the show notes. You can go there. And thank you so much, Staci, for taking time, I know, out of your very busy life to take some time with me to share your gifts with my audience. And I'm really grateful. I'm so grateful that you came into my life and that I've been able to be a part of your journey.
Thank you, Rachel. The feeling is mutual. I loved it. And thanks for letting me share the time.
All right, everyone, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week for another episode of The Wellness Boss. Till then, namaste. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Wellness Boss. If you want to learn more about my work, come visit me at rachelbethcoaching.com. That's Rachel, Rachel, Beth, Beth, coaching.com. See you next week.